everyone, and happy Valentine's Day. Today is the day that we celebrate love, and most people think that's about romantic love and your partner and flowers and hearts and chocolate. Oh, chocolate, that's the best stuff. And of course, it can be about all that, but it doesn't have to be. I think the most profound love that I've ever felt is for my children. You hold those babies and the smell of them and the softness of their skin, and then they grow up and they always need you, and they fall down and you have to kiss the boo-boos and you have to be responsible for them and feed them and wash their clothes and get them to school, and eventually they grow up and they leave. Yeah, totally feeling that. So for my Valentine's Day project, I decided to do a mom and a baby because I think that's what celebrates love at this point in my life. I mean, I'm not so much into the romantic thing anymore. I was at one time. I think everything, we all go in stages. So, because I'm weird. This is a mermaid, mother and baby. And I'm also applying it to the 29-day faces challenge that I'm doing. There's actually 29 faces in only 28 days. So this counts as two faces because there's a baby face and a mom face. Yeah, that's right. I will make 29 faces. So I'm doing this on a shipping tag as I did I'm doing all of the days of the 29 days on shipping tags, and then I've got a cute little flip book at the end that I can flip through. It's a really great thing to do to make a face every day if you want to practice making faces, because you will get better. And as I flip through my book, I'll be able to see the mistakes I made and the progress I've made, because I don't draw faces that much. I mean, I do a lot of illustration, but I think it's more, I tend to go more towards animals and things like that than humans. Um, Also, I've been trying to put in different techniques as I'm doing it, and also, um, and I've been trying to do some males and some. I did it one baby face so far, crying, a little crying, pouting baby boy. Um, and I have been doing some male faces as well, which are hard. You wouldn't think so, but it's hard to, as a female, seeing a female face every day with soft round curves, to do angular faces. It's tricky. I wouldn't have thought it was, but I've been trying, and my guys still kind of look pretty feminine. I don't know if that's ever going to change. So the process for this one isn't anything shocking. I'm drawing with my mechanical pencil. This has soft lead in it. It's got a 2B graphite lead, and I've got my white eraser, which is my go-to favorite on this manila cardstock that shipping tags are made out of. And yes, I got the 1,000 shipping tags. I have a whole box of them. Wow, that's a lot of shipping tags. I don't know. It's going to take my entire lifetime to use those up. That was probably a silly thing to do. So once I'm done satisfied with my pencil drawing, then I go in with my illustration markers, and these are an India ink permanent marker. And this little pack has a lot of different size nibs. So because this is pretty small, I'm using the size S, the small, for the most of the lines, and then the fine details in the face, I'm using the extra small, um, little teeny tiny one, because it by necessity is small because it's on a shipping tag. So I can't make it big if I want to really represent that it is a mermaid. I could have made a mom and a baby in a bigger size and then just cut off the bottom part of them, but then you wouldn't see that it's a mermaid. Yeah, you wouldn't even know. I'll probably also post this in the 12 Months of Mermaid group too, because I've been kind of behind. I have joined way too much stuff, people. There's so much great stuff going on, and there's so many people offering challenges and things and da 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 da. And I can't stop myself from joining things. I'm obsessed. So, yeah, I haven't made my mermaid from last month, but this one can be the mermaid from this month, as well as one of my 29 faces and my Valentine's celebration. Yeah. So I also use the extra small marker to do like some detailing work, like some little lines and the fins and some little scales, things like that. Just, real tiny, fine detail stuff. I just use those two sizes. Sometimes when I'm doing illustrations, I use more than that. I make fatter lines, thinner lines, and that makes the illustration more interesting and dynamic. But it's just so small. So, yeah, two pins, just two pins. Then, of course, I use my white eraser to get rid of all the excess graphite so I can move on to the coloring stage. And I am going to watercolor this. Even though this is manila cardstock and it's very absorbent, I think it will be fine for the watercolor. So I'm using my expensive brush that I only reserve for watercoloring. I don't get anything else in it. And this is a Sakura Koi Travel watercolor set. It's got a lot of really nice, intense pigments in it. I will link everything that I used today in this video below the video in that See More box. I will link everything that I use so that if you want to try these products, you can. So I'm actually mixing colors with the watercolors, particularly for the skin tones. I'm using ochre and burnt sienna together to make kind of a warm, darker skin tone, maybe something Caucasian, maybe, or maybe more like Latino color. I'm not sure. It's definitely dark, not dark enough to be African American skin, but it's not super light either. So maybe someone who has a mermaid who has some Italian heritage or Latino heritage, maybe. I don't know. Because, I've never seen a real mermaid, so I don't know what color they are. They could be any color. Maybe someday I'll see one. I could have made it fantasy colors and, done green skin or teal skin or something like that. I made it the humanoid colors I guess just because I was feeling the whole mom's love thing and the baby and holding the baby and kind of identifying with that. However, my skin is much paler than this. I'm very fair, so. Although if I got a tan, I might be that color. Yeah, I could pull that color off if I got a tan. Because it is kind of reddish. When I tan, I get red. That's what happens. So watercoloring, for me anyway, is kind of a process of adding and taking away. There's a lot of layering going on, particularly because this cardstock just slurps up the pigment anyway. I mean, you can't really pull it back off. A watercolor paper that's designed for this is, of course, a better option. But manila cardstock is pretty versatile. You can do a lot of stuff with it. And that's what they make shipping tags out of. So I wonder why it's called manila. I used to think it was vanilla, like vanilla cardstock, which made sense to me because it's kind of the color of vanilla ice cream. And so, kind of an off-white, not quite white, but sort of. But that's not what it is. It's manila. And I don't know why it's called that. So I'm sure one of you, one of my great researchers, will look it up for me and tell me in the comments why it's called that. Because I don't know. It's just a smooth milled paper. I don't know why it's called that. So I put a little starfish clippy in her hair to just kind of hold her hair back. And I've been playing with real stylized looking hair for the last few days, just kind of messing around with that. And she must be a goldfish because I made her fin portions yellows and oranges. I thought that went better with her skin tone and kind of, I don't know, that's just what I was feeling. So the baby is a slightly paler color because otherwise it would blend in and you wouldn't be able to see him as much. So by necessity, not as dark of colors on the baby. You know, mermaids could lay eggs because if they're fish, they would lay eggs. But if they're mammals, they would have live births. So they could be more like dolphins and whales and have live births. That's what I assume. Or they could lay eggs and then little humanoid creatures would crawl out of the eggs. That seems kind of weird. Yeah, I'm not going to go with that. So she is actually out of the water and sitting like on a basalt type rock. She must be off the Oregon coast because all the rocks there are very dark like that. I don't know why she's out of the water. She could have been in the water. Either way, doesn't matter to me. But I guess because I wanted her legs to be folded up so that you'd be able to see them on the tag, that's the reason that she's sitting instead of swimming. So in some cases, I'm putting the pigment directly onto the brush and applying it like right now. I am using the pigment on the brush. I'm not putting any water on the paper first, but then in the case of the rock, I put water down. I put a water wash down where I wanted the pigment to be, and then I dripped the color into it. So that's a couple different ways that you can use watercolors. Any type of a water soluble product, you can kind of use them that way. Except for maybe markers. You probably wouldn't want to dip your marker in the water on the paper because then you'd be diluting the marker. So probably wouldn't do that. But you know what I'm saying. There's different ways to use watercolors. I really like this brush. It's fat and it holds a lot of water up within it, but then it comes to a very, very, very fine point. So I can do these teeny tiny details with it because the tip of it is so tiny and it's holding all the water and the pigment up in it and then letting it out in little teeny tiny bits. So I don't have to reload it as much. So I like this brush a lot. I'll make sure that it's linked below. I got it from Dick Blick. The thing about watercolor brushes, and really all brushes, is that each manufacturer uses a different number for their sizes. So I mean, it's not standardized. Some of them are. Some companies will have a standardization of some sort, but others just have like, you think it's going to be a number 12 brush, but it's really a number 6 in their workings. I don't know. It's strange. It's strange why they do that. They should just standardize it so that we wouldn't be so confused. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they confuse me. So for the background, I just made a kind of a teal color. I didn't really fuss about deciding where the water is and where the air is. Behind her, I just filled in the whole thing with, it could be kind of stormy in the background, and maybe it's some of those stormy clouds. I don't know. I didn't feel like messing with it anymore. I didn't feel like adding more to the background. I wanted the focal to be the mommy and baby mermaid. So that was what I was thinking. So I needed to add in some more shadows. See how there's so many layers? And the brush with a little bit of water on it with no pigment will pull color off. So you can do that too, or I'm blotting it with actually toilet paper. I didn't have any paper towels left, so I used toilet paper. I don't know. I just did. Tissue actually works pretty well. I should have just a box of like, tissues that you blow your nose with type of tissues. But I don't have that in my studio. So then just for the final details, I got out my Posca pen, the white, because I wanted to add some highlights. I struggle with leaving white on any type of a project that I do. I struggle with leaving white, and watercolor, you really can't go back over the top of it with watercolor and put in more highlights because watercolor tends to be transparent. So I don't do good with leaving the white highlights behind, so I just go back with my Posca pen. I'm mixed media anyway, so throw a little bit of, acrylic ink on there, and that's fine with me. And then I also got out my Inktense pencils, and those are a water-soluble pencil that becomes permanent when it's dry. And I'm just going to use that very sparingly to go around the images and kind of make a darker halo around the figures so that they can stand out a little bit more from the background. I'm not going to blend it. I'm just going to use it as if it was a colored pencil. Not going to worry about water or anything. I'm just adding it as like a deepening effect around the edge. And that will be it. So if you enjoyed this video, please remember to give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment so I know you were here. Subscribe. Subscribe and turn your notifications on. That would be nice. Then you'd know when I made a video. And share if you want to. Pin it to Pinterest or share it on Facebook or Twitter, something like that. And happy Valentine's Day. I hope that you all are feeling love today and that no one is sad or anything like that. That's it for me. Bye-bye.